So our mentoring for today, um, we are mentioning our DER formula circle, which is happening in Logan on May 16th. And we still have spots open if you're watching this and you are in the Logan area or Northern Utah or Southern Idaho. And we're also looking at doing a Malad, Idaho still in mid-June. And deep emotion release is a powerful tool. We'll talk about some related things today with that. So we have 4 life area kits now, which is fun. We talked about the interpersonal kit last week. Today, we're going to talk about the mind-body connection kit. So you'll kind of see how I've decided to put all this together and what we're going to address a couple of angles of wellness, mind-body connection wellness. So the mind-body connection is pretty well established. I think and Tamara could probably tell us, do you know of offhand some research on that or who has
Oh, not
spoken
not
about that?
offhand, but I'm sure it's in my notes somewhere.
I'm sure it's in your notes. Yes. We should throw some slides up if we do it again. But yes, there's a
Okay.
lot of teachers of the mind-body connection. It's been pretty established for years. The one that I will mention is Louise Hay. So if you haven't seen Louise Hay's movie, it is called You Can Heal Your Life, like the book that she wrote. It's really, I watched it so many times. It's one of the best movies on the mind-body connection based on affirmations. So she has a whole, like list of affirmations connected to the body. She was a Christian scientist and discovered, in her studies of like spiritual science that there were certain belief patterns that people had who had different conditions. And so she started this map, so to speak, and it's been around for many years. My book is falling apart. And anyway, so I think we pulled this up the other day when we were actually talking about the ankle, right? And so we looked at what, one of our participants was talking about her ankle, and we discovered there was a connection. And sometimes when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, like that's the thing, that's the problem. So that one was inflexibility and guilt. Ankles represent the ability to receive pleasure, which is interesting. So you can always look them up. So Candida is an interesting one. Let me tell you about Candida. It's listed in her book too. So Candida is the kind of like that internal itchy, like you can have systemic Candida. And if you go get an ionic foot bath, you'll actually see foam on the top of the water, right? It's like all this candida coming out. Mine was really bad. So I've had trouble with candida, and you can have things like yeast infections or thrush or athlete's foot or different conditions, in locations. But the systemic is sometimes I'll just feel at the top of my head itches. I don't know why it's there, but that's where I feel it, it's just, location wise. But in your system, it will show up as like gut issues and cravings for sugar, right? So it is a yeast. And if you look at the mental or emotional side of it, it says feeling very scattered, lots of frustration and anger, demanding and untrusting in relationships. And Candida, they say takers, which is interesting because I think there was a point in my life maybe when I was more of a taker, and that's when it was at its worst. And I shifted into being more of a giver. But that's got its own pile because if you get resentful as a giver, you're still going to have, they can't do it anyway, but it's not as bad. So it's just interesting to look at. And then there's affirmations that go with it. So, like the Candida one, I give myself permission to be all that I can be, and I deserve the very best in life. I love and appreciate myself and others. So I just thought that's, yeah, some good affirmations. So with the formulas, we're going to go to my first one is, there we go. No, maybe Chemental Detox. So on the theme of Candida, Candida is also a neurotoxin. Isn't that interesting? So a neurotoxin is a little different than regular toxins. Some toxins affect the liver, some affect, like different organs, right? And neurotoxins do pass through the blood-brain barrier and affect your mind, affect your brain and your thinking and your thought processes, let's say. Okay, so let me give you some examples of this. So there's two major neurotoxins, and they are gluten and, well, milk and gluten. And I can't remember, I'd have to look at the actual names of the neurotoxins. And acetaldehyde is related to all this as well. So let me tell you an interesting story about acetaldehyde. So if you look at toxins and chemical, I guess, issues in the brain, one is alcohol. All right. So if you look at there are, when people choose to drink alcohol, they will they get fuzzy and they get sloppy and right. And so that's basically a really potent neurotoxin is alcohol itself. But the side, like there's a byproduct of alcohol, and that is acetaldehyde. So that's actually in the family of formaldehyde. So think about what is formaldehyde? Extremely poisonous. It's an embalming fluid, right? People who I hear stories Todd tells me about his reckless years, and I guess embalming fluid is something people actually used to get high or whatever, and it's really dangerous. So not something you want to mess around with. But imagine this is in your body naturally as a byproduct of alcohol. So a lot of people I work with are not drinkers, but they're sugar eaters. So guess what happens in your body if you have a lot of yeast, which is candida, and you consume sugar and you add a little grain to it? What are those? Yeast, sugar, and grain. What are those also ingredients of? Beer. Isn't that interesting? You have your own brewery in your gut. And so you'll actually see an acetaldehyde byproduct for people who have candida and are using sugar and wheat.
Wow.
It actually creates acetaldehyde in your body, just like alcohol. Isn't that fascinating? So that's a neurotoxin. And when you have that neurotoxin running through your system, it makes you moody. It makes you don't think well. You have, you're distracted when you're driving. Just think about like it's really like driving drunk. It's really scary. But it's doing other things without a full presence of mind. And you might be more agitated or more sensitive or something, so you're not as in control. So I think it's really important to know. So when you're looking at Chemental Detox, think about that kind of scenario. And what I've actually found is that I am having more issues with milk because there's another type of neurotoxin from dairy that affects people. Oh, let me tell you this one. So my GAPS practitioner, so GAPS is gut and psychology syndrome. Andrea Choate was her name. And she was teaching classes, 10 years ago or so. And it's a pretty intensive lifestyle. GAPS is not for everybody. I don't think it's stuck around for the most part, but the science behind it really matters because that's where I learned about neurotoxins. So gut and psychology syndrome is basically a mind-body thing. What's going on in your gut can also affect your psychology. It's very connected. And I think it's very important to realize that as we're doing our up leveling and healing from things, that what we consume and how our body responds to things is something we do control. Like we can influence that a lot. So, okay, so now we're going to go to, so Andrea told us a story of how she got off of gluten all the way, and I think milk as well. And her brain was free of these neurotoxins and she felt so much better and she was doing her lifestyle. And then she's like, well, what'll happen if I have a piece of bread? She started experiencing schizophrenic symptoms, not just a little bit. Like she was hallucinating. She went wacko for about, like 4 hours or something. And like, she's like, wow, is it possible? that some of these major mental illnesses are actually based on these neurotoxins that are part, like whether it's byproducts or it's, interactions of different things, or it's the GMOs or this whatever, but our diet is not supporting our well-being. So anyway, so there's the preface for Chemental Detox, and then we'll go there. So Chemental Detox is really good to take if you're ready to start addressing your inner chemistry. And so the term is chemical, right? You're thinking chemical, but mental, and the detox is in there. All right. So when you're taking this, it can enhance visualization. Part of that is what we're hoping is it also can help decalcify the pineal gland or remove some of the things that are barriers to our natural enhancement, say in our third eye, which is part of that brain we're talking about. It harmonizes emotional, mental, and spiritual knowledge, invigorates and recharges the mind, detoxifies bitterness, like resentment, we're talking about, from your physical and emotional levels of being, re-energizes emotional potential, and clears mental fogginess or chatter. So the vital body energetic intentions, it includes crystal technology to support harmonization at the center of your being. That's a pretty big deal. All right. And then the health related intentions supports elimination of neurotoxins and chemicals that accumulate from what we put in and on our body. Oh, so there are things that we put on our skin. Our skin is our biggest organ, right, in our body. And if it's toxic, we can have issues from that. I was doing a biofeedback session with a teenager, and she was really struggling, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And the biofeedback said it was aluminum. And we looked at, like, what is she having that has aluminum in it? And one is deodorant has aluminum in it. And so there are certain things that if you learn you're sensitive, just changing those things, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it could be. So just helps to know. All right. And then it supports the skin, respiratory system, kidneys, urinary, and lymphatic system, as well as other detoxification organs. It attracts the best detoxification tools and processes for you individually. So part of why I don't really deal with candida anymore is because of taking Chemental Detox over time. And I remember also feeling inspired with what I was taking when I was taking it, to do a cleanse that I'd never heard of before. Like, it actually came to me intuitively that released SIBO. Does anybody know what SIBO is?
Yeah.
SIBO is a bugger. So it's a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So it's an accumulation of bacteria in the gut. And so if you take probiotics, it will actually make it worse. So I couldn't take probiotics. And then you also can't have things like yogurt and fermented foods. And so the GAPS diet wasn't working for me because that involved fermented foods. And so I was learning all this about it, and I was actually brought to a very clear protocol where I was able to release something, like something shifted, and I'd been taking a supplement just to manage the I guess symptoms for years, a couple years. And after that, I didn't have to take the supplement anymore because I was clear of it. So it was amazing. So, and everybody could have their own thing. That's what's so cool about the way the formulas work, is that for one person, they need to do a heavy metal detox. And maybe it's a foot zone, or foot detox, sorry, an ionic foot bath. There we go. Or maybe they need to do a liver cleanse, or maybe their thing is like a full fast for 24, 48 hours. Just get everything out of their system. So there's so many different solutions for so many different people. And that's what I like about the formulas, is that we're not doing one size fits all. We're doing the library. You go into the library when you're ready to detox or clear up your head, or find that thing that's off, in your chemistry, and this formula will take you to your shelf in that library. and your book in that library and even your chapter. I love that about it because it's like you don't have to go out and actually literally go into a library and find the right shelf and the right book and the right chapter. It has the information, it brings the information into your consciousness, into your information field, and you see it when it's, it's like, that's it kind of thing. So that's awesome. All right. It tracks the best detoxification tools and processes for you individually. So, additional suggestions. We have detox baths, ionic foot baths, or foot detox pads. If anybody's done those are kind of fun. You put them on the bottom of your feet at night, and when you take them off, they're all really good. Joanne, are you on here? I would love for you to talk about zeolite if you have a second.
Yeah, I have a minute.
Yay! Will you talk
Um,
about zeolite? Thank you.
yes, I will. This was Christy had recommended it to me before, and she had the powdered form. And I didn't take it at that time because my body didn't call for it. But when I started taking the formulas again, it kind of popped back into my mind.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, hey, since I've been taking all these liquid supplements, I wonder if zeolite would be liquid. And I did
I know you
find
could.
one. And I started taking it, whether it's spray or whether putting it in my water. And I have to say that it has made a big change. It's a very gentle way of detoxing.
So,
I don't, go ahead.
zeolite powder, the one I was taking it's like a diatomaceous earth kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
And it doesn't taste good. It's cloudy and it's like, you know, chalky. And but I could feel it working. Like I could feel it moving into my small intestine and like almost like
Hmm.
collecting garbage, which was lovely. But, I would feel better after I drink it. So the zeolite spray is different
Hmm.
because, I mean, it's not a chalky powder. So obviously it's working from a different angle.
Well, the
Oh.
liquid hits you or the spray hits you like it's automatic absorbed. Like for
Mm,
instance, like the powder you have it has to go through your system and
got it.
eventually there's got to be some sort of digestive. But when you drink something, it automatically absorbs into your body and you can feel it. It's 5 sprays twice a day. I would normally take my sprays at nighttime because a body at rest stays at rest
Oh,
and
that's
it
when I should do it. Okay, I'm
allows
gonna do it again.
you to not interfere with the process because your body is already sleeping. And
And you're
since
not
it's a
eating
gentle,
anything for 8 hours.
you're not
Oh
eating
my gosh.
anything.
Thank you.
And
I'm gonna do it again.
it's like I said, it's a very gentle process, so it won't interfere with your sleep.
Nice.
So
Okay. But it kind of it feels like it pulls things out
it's a
that you
gentle
want out.
pulling sensation.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Nice. I will try that again because I felt it when I was taking the spray. I'm like, oh, I noticed something, but I wasn't sure if I liked what I noticed. So I want to take it
Right.
at night and just go to sleep. That's perfect. So there we go. If you want to put the link in there to where you find it, I'm sure people will love it. Okay. Royal Tea I'm not taking it anymore, but I really liked it. It was from, oh shoot, the a Royal something. There, we'll find a link for that one too. Juice fasts are nice, but Royal Tea, it has multiple things in it, like marshmallow root and different things. And so you drink it and it just really purges, like it moves everything out. So you got to be near a bathroom about 4 hours after drinking it. So, and I wouldn't drink more than 1 cup a day. I've tried taking, it was so funny because I came back from Mexico and decided to do a cleanse with Royal Tea. And so I was taking it 3 times a day and I thought I had picked up a Mexican bug because I had so much diarrhea. So I don't recommend 3 times a day. Anyway, a juice fast celery juice is amazing. So I would definitely do Chemental Detox with celery juice because it's made to like work with your cellular, bestness, we could call it. Anyway, general cleanse, divine. So we're going to talk about seasonal allergies. Does anybody deal with seasonal allergies? I had horrendous seasonal allergies. I would actually have to miss a day of work. They would be so bad. I would be puffy. I mean, my eyes would just swell up. I couldn't breathe. I was just a wreck in usually May, April and May, around there. So something I heard, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, is um, to use EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, for every time I started sneezing. So it was like not just once, but because they said you probably have 100 allergens and you've got to clear 100 different things. So I would literally did, yeah, I would say I did my tapping probably 10 times a day for like a few weeks. And it was so crazy because the next year I'd have my really out bad allergies in April, and then for about 3 weeks they were gone. Like nothing. And it was like just like what had happened is the year before I cleared it all. So I just hadn't cleared the April stuff because I didn't know about it. Isn't that crazy? So it was literally like it knew which ones I cleared. So I like that. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna use it in just a second. But again, keep the formula handy because it could really streamline that, because it could be that um, the information field can support the vital body in releasing all of your allergens. So these are some of the things. I'm going to go to health related first. It does relieve seasonal allergies. It neutralizes the response to pollen, flowers, grasses, trees, shrubs, and molds. It improves the absorption of minerals and supports bones and skeletal structure. So I do have, as an additional suggestion, use EFT daily, diligently, and that should say 0-Point Meridian because that's what we use now. Up to 10 times a day. You could also do a biofeedback session because we have, I know in my system, there's a panel for allergens and resolve it there. And then one of my favorite supplements is nettle. And I don't know if you've heard of nettle for releasing allergies. I thought I had my bottle here. I may not, but it's just a supplement and it really helps. So I don't know. It's weird because you would think people might even be allergic to nettle. It's like one of those weed things, but it's a supplement that really does help for me. And I'm not able to do like regular allergy pills, but I don't think they're really a solution. So what is also interesting is around the time I was doing this releasing, I started to see layers of myself that I had not seen before. And so in the emotional intentions, it helps with long-standing negative feelings toward the self. It supports a personal understanding and self-acceptance, reduces nail biting and self-harm, enhances comfort and being in the here and now, both internally and externally. It increases a sense of mercy and grace for self and others, and supports the introvert to get outside. So I have done more yard work because I couldn't even do yard work. Like it just wasn't going to happen. So up until I started this releasing process in about 2004 or so, because I learned EFT around that time, I had done zero yard work in my whole life, like never even been outside and pulled a weed. And I was in my 40s. And so no spring anyway, for sure. I might pick things from the garden, but I would have to go inside and I'd have rashes up my arms from just picking stuff in the garden. So I also discovered, oh, this is so good to know. I was allergic to phenols. So that was from a biofeedback session. Phenols are like it's kind of like the life force of a plant, I would almost call it. So it gets released. So when people cut grass, there's a ton of phenols that get released into the air because they've just cut these little, plants in half. And so it's like they're bleeding. That's what gets released is phenols. There's tons of phenols released when like grasshoppers come and attack a crop. It releases. So basically their trauma release, it's their trauma is released as phenols, plant trauma. Isn't that interesting? When things are overheated in a garden or, yeah, it's phenols are basically plant trauma. And so that's what I was allergic to. And so you think about all the stuff that's going on in in different times of year. And that's when I would, grass getting cut would get me hay fever, they call it, right? When it's growing and being cut down. So there's actually an enzyme for phenols. So it's called no phenol. And I think it's spelled NOFENOL. But it helps a ton with these allergens. So there's that. So I found these solutions, and I would have never known, right? Except I was taking the formulas that helped me find them. It increases a sense of mercy and grace for self and others, supports the introvert to go outside. That was where I left off. So yeah. So we're gonna do a quick 0-point meridian process for anybody. And it's interesting right now as we're teaching this, it's springtime, but I don't know, it's raining here, so that's no allergies when it's raining. But if you're outside and you get something gets to you, this is totally worth doing. But this also, back to the mind-body connection, I learned there was a bunch that my allergies were saying something. My allergies were layers of me that were moving things out. And if you think about it, like a big sneeze, I always sneeze really loud. I just do, I always sneeze really loud. And it's almost like I'm angry, right? And so there's an emotion, a lot of emotion behind it. And so it's all connected. So when people do some different brain integration techniques, it can also help their allergy responses. So it's like we're connected to our brain and our emotional stuff and our response to our environments. So if there's an environment that bothers you, and it doesn't have to be allergies, it could be Walmart. It could be like I probably needed to do more ZPM at the expo. It was overload for me, you know? So if you get overloaded by something, and I think that's the term we'll use. So we'll just say that. Okay. So I'm going to go off here, but we'll come back to it just so you can see. So we're tapping right here, and we're just going to say, and then find something that overloads you, like an environmental trigger. Looking at, okay. All right. Give yourself from a 1 to 10, rate it on a 1 to 10 and how much it bothers you. Okay. You can put it in the chat if you want to. And then we'll go ahead and do this. So even though, this is where you start, I have this overload, I love and accept myself completely. With infinite love and gratitude, I release and forgive. Take a deep breath in. And then when we exhale, we're actually going to push our solar plexus in the exhale. And the goal with that is to get it out of your solar plexus and find some silence. And so it might be that you feel unprotected. So sometimes we go through a different layer with that. So even though I feel unprotected in this environment, I love and accept myself completely. With infinite love and gratitude, I release and forgive. Take a deep breath in. And we're going to push it all out. And I talked about the angry sneeze. When I did that release, I felt it just kind of all bubbling up. And I see Tamara's releasing. That's awesome. So let's look at the anger part of it. So what's interesting is that it's a sense of like powerlessness. I think sometimes when we get overloaded from our environment, whether it's seasonal allergies or too many people in an airport, and it can actually suppress our immune system, right? Or it can affect our ability to protect ourselves and our immune system. And and so we're passing by, variables of germs and all that kind of stuff. And emotionally we're more like exposed almost, if that makes sense, if we're not feeling protected, right? So an ion shield is a good idea in those cases. You're gonna hold it. Thank you. Say hi so that tell us about the ion shield. Give us a 1-minute version.
1-minute version.
Yeah, the
It's
one.
protecting, it's putting me in a bubble of pure air. 60 million negative ions per cubic centimeter. Yeah.
Oh, that was perfect. That was a 30-second explanation. Yes, I wore it into an airport and I had people noticing it because it has a little light on it. And so I think it draws attention. But they were like, what is that? And, and I just like felt it. I was like, I have my bubble, which is awesome. So that would be a really good thing to put with, we should even stick it on that list, the Anodyne Divine, because it's like for people that are really compromised by crowds or by the junk, cigarette smoke in Vegas or um like pollution and gas fumes in cities. I think this would be an amazing tool to have, the ion shield, and then take the Anodyne Divine, and then we're going to do this last tapping part for that. So we're going to talk about disempowered. So even though I feel disempowered in some environments, I love and accept myself completely. With infinite love and gratitude, I release and forgive. Take a deep breath in. Hold that. Let go of all of that victim or disempowered energy. And then as we're going to do the affirmations, because we will do the affirmations on this one, we may add a couple. Let's see if they cover it all. Okay. I deserve mercy and grace. We're going to tap that across the top of our head. I deserve mercy and grace. I accept myself fully as a balance of dark and light. I share how I feel. I take deep breaths of cleansing fresh air. I'm free to share myself. I recognize and allow myself to cry. I'm free to explore. I'm in harmony with nature. I understand my own essence. And then instead of this last one, I'm going to do this. I'm empowered with self-protection. And then I think I'm going to also say I'm empowered with divine protection. That felt strong. So I'm going to share my really quick version of divine protection to you. I was doing a sound bath, and I was in the sound bath when I felt angels around me. And it was like I was encouraged to shield myself with these angels. So it was enough angels that they could stand shoulder to shoulder. And there's something about that. They could stand shoulder to shoulder all the way around me and create a complete like shield of sorts, but it was all light based. And it gave me plenty of room. Like it wasn't like having a little box over me or something. It was like I had this freedom within my shield to like expand myself and expand my heart. Because the tendency when we're faced with something that overwhelms us or creates, a sense of disempowerment is to contract. So so here's a mind body thing. So if our vital body contracts, what do you think happens to your immune system? It might affect that, right? Isn't that interesting? And I think the heart chakra is connected to the immune system from what I can remember too. So if you contract in, you're also probably depleting your personal power, physically with your immune system. And so your ability to expand, and we're going to go to vital body next. So this is perfect, will allow you to stay healthy, and having something angelic or divine around you keeps you protected. Isn't that cool? So cool. Okay. On to vital radiance. Okay. So what we just tapped on is a meridian, and meridians are part of the vital body, and the vital body is definitely part of the mind-body connection. All right. So vital radiance is ideal for empaths, those who are even more sensitive to environments and to exposed to things. So especially when sensitive to the emotional energy of others. It provides a mental barrier to support filtering and protection from outside thought fields, which is cool. And vital body energetic, it provides an energetic shield protection, supports healing and sealing of leaks and cracks in the auric field, balances and opens the crown chakra, which is the seventh chakra, and supports the third eye, sixth chakra. So you want to take this maybe when you're working with an energy practitioner using spiritual tools. You can add essential oils to it. We're going to talk about crown essential oil in a second for ample protection and vital body shifts. And then the health related is it actually amplifies every other formula you take. So Debbie Schultz has been having clients do their live blood analysis. And if we don't have the slide to share right now, I will have to add it in. But she'll have them do the take of a live blood analysis. She puts that blood on a plate, and under the microscope, she can see what that blood looks like. And in a lot of cases, it has, I think it's called rouleau. It's like a stacking of cells, and you can just tell it's like, and then there's all this inflammation, and it just doesn't look very happy. And then she'll find out which formula stands out for someone. It might be Adrenal Valor, or there's a couple other ones. And then she'll do Vital Radiance. She'll have them take that. She'll have them take their key formula, give them 15 minutes, and then reassess their live blood analysis. And it has transformed. It's like all the cells are happy. They all have light flowing through them. They all have their own space. So think about that. If you've contracted in your, and I'm sure I don't know if there's actual research on it, but I bet there is. So if you've started contracting energetically, my guess is your blood also looks like her first slide, which would be blood, the cells all kind of like, oh, like, let's just stick together. Literally, let's just stick together. It's not safe out there. And then when you open up your energy body again, it's happening not just, in your energy field out here, like your chakras, but it's happening in your cells. Your cells have their own energy body, right? And so then you can see the little cells, like they have their own space, and their light goes all the way around them instead of just on the outside edges, so it's like the whole cell has its functioning. And anyway, it's just amazing to think about, what does that look like? It's a mind-body connection in that, like, if our cells are happy and our bloodstream is flowing through us, our meridians are probably flowing too. Our chakras might be open, and emotionally we're doing better, and health-wise we're doing better, and our immune system's better, and we're standing taller, whatever, right? So all this works together. It's kind of cool. But Vital Radiance is the one that it's kind of like you can feel it when you take it. I know it's a way of kind of like amping up the other solutions, which is nice. Our next slide. Okay. Transformula supports freedom from anything that could be holding you back from making positive changes. Works with beliefs that might keep you from success, economically or personally, or health. It supports changes with ingrained habits or beliefs, including generational patterns. Works on feelings of competence, worthiness, intelligence, acceptance, and empowerment. Health-related intentions. It realigns cellular structures to a time before the disease existed. I remember hearing that and just being like, wow, I don't know when that even was, because all I've known is this. It releases addictive patterning. And then the vital body energetic intentions that supports a quantum shift or creative shift, and includes crystal technology to center you in yourself energetically. So there's a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. And I love the research he's been doing. So he's been teaching that meditation can actually heal people. And he's been proving it. He's been actually doing, full on like blood draws and urinalysis and, EA, almost like EKG, I think the hats where they look at your brain patterning. So he will have 20 test subjects to the back of his advanced retreats and take all of their data like daily. And the data that's come from that is just mind blowing. The kind of research that they're finding with just the power of meditation to heal you, like you can't ignore it. So it's real. And the idea is, it's happening. People are finding that, and just having a practice of meditation where you sit in stillness, it could lower your cortisol levels. It could definitely affect your nervous system balance and your sense of wellness, and well-being, and a lot of other hormones and everything that goes with that. And so the challenge people have is sitting and doing it. And so if that's a major challenge, you probably want to go back and do the, like even inner solution to help get your ego under control because it's usually the ego that's like, no, you can't do this. You should go do other things. So I know I battled mine for a long time. And so anyway, there's some ideas I have. And so for the next few minutes, if you want, we can kind of go through the book, the Louise Hay book. Oh, let me tell you the prize we're offering. So we have a prize all right. So that's, basically we talked about Transformula and the process. And I didn't go through all the affirmations, but when you change your beliefs, you can change your life, right? You hear that. We have a spiritual solution. This is our crown origin. It's an essential oil that goes really well with vital radiance. So when your crown chakra is out of alignment, it could be reversed and it could be still, but it will actually, the reversal reversal is associated with spiritual sabotage, a faith crisis, addiction, conflict with God, or a loss of personal power. And it can go still if you're just like stuck. Like if your doubt's bigger than your faith, or you're not going to pray because you don't believe it's going to work, so that's basically, it's like your crown is your prayer center, right? And so when it gets corrected, all these other things can get corrected. It is a blend that includes frankincense as the divine masculine and myrrh as the divine feminine, sandalwood for ultra high frequency, spiritual frequency, and clove for auric protection. And it does consistently align the crown chakra, dispel darkness and density, and support direction, faith, and freedom. So Joanne can maybe put in a link if you just want to order it, or we're inviting people to fill out the survey. So over the next 2 weeks, we'll be collecting surveys from people that have started formulas either, anytime back to February, March, April. You just need to note like when you started the formulas, you'll fill out the survey, and all the people that fill out surveys will be in the drawing for a free bottle of Crown Origin. And this isn't the little one. This is like the full 5 milliliter. So it'll last a minute. So over the next 2 weeks, this is what we'll be talking about. Next week, we'll talk about the health kit. Okay, we'll talk about endocrine system, reversing disease, vaccine injuries, and microbial solutions. Okay. And then we'll talk about the mood kit on the 19th, along with our drawing. And those are the 4 kits. And basically those 4 kits cover all 16 formulas. So it was interesting when that just kind of downloaded for me. Because you could do Transformula with any health issue. So you could take the Transformula and then look up in your, you can have your life book and use an affirmation based on your condition for that. And it would help with the shift.